Good morning, folks. Welcome to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer, your host. But today we're going to be bringing you a special edition with Eric Atkinson, who's going to be introducing you to two new 2014 inductees of the Master Farmer, Master Farm Homemaker class.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities, big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Jim Schroyer, and now we want to introduce you to the Deardens.
There was never really much doubt that Larry Dearden was destined to farm. Upon graduating from Scott Community High School in 1973 and 1 year of agricultural courses at Colby Community College, Larry returned to the family farm southeast of Scott City for good. His wife, Millie, also a Scott County native. She earned her education degree from Fort Hays State University, and not long thereafter, she and Larry married and settled into their farming life. In partnership with Larry's three brothers and now son Clint, the Dearden operation now consists of 3,400 crop acres with a heavy emphasis on grain sorghum and wheat. Off-farm, Larry and Millie have been highly active in Scott County extension pursuits, church and farm organization leadership, and faith outreach with the Gideons. Millie also served as a special education paraeducator for a number of years locally. The farm is exclusively crops now, but that wasn't the case as Larry was getting his feet wet in farming as a youngster on a place that's been in the Dearden family for well over 100 years.
What was the operation like as you were growing up? Was it a mix of livestock and crop production?
Yeah, originally it was a mix of, we had milk cows, hogs, and beef cows. Slowly evolved more into the beef cattle. And
Millie, bring you into the picture here. You are from Colorado originally, correct?
Yeah, I was born in Denver, Colorado.
So how did you end up in west central Kansas?
My mom and dad both had family here. My mom grew up over in Lane County, and my dad's family was here in Scott County. And they were out in Denver, and then they moved back here in 1970.
How the operation has evolved over the years. And, well, for one thing, as it stands present day, you've moved away from the cattle altogether, you and your brothers in your operation, right, Larry?
yes. Yeah, well, the drought kind of forced us away. Clint and I had cows together, and the drought with no grass production, we couldn't afford to keep the cows. So
The place has gravitated toward all crops, though, at this point, right?
At this point, we're all crop production. And
dry land, irrigated, a mix of both?
We've got a little bit of irrigated, mostly dry land, a wheat milo-fallow rotation. Some dry land corn if we have a weed problem we need to address. We custom farm for one of my uncles, and he's now passed away, so it's now we're custom farming for all of us cousins. So it keeps us busy. We farm a little over 6,000 acres.
Now, Millie, you have forged a career in education all the while, right? Mm-hmm. Well,
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, I started out when Clint was in grade school, just subbing at the shallow water school, and then I got a job working with the special ed children at shallow water, and then when they closed shallow water down, I moved into the elementary school, worked with the special ed kids, and then from there, I think we decided 8 years ago, I went to the county library. That's where I'm at now, and I do all of the children's programming, young adult librarian, and adult programming.
Stay tuned for after the break when we wrap up with Larry and Millie Dearden.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Join Kansas Wheat, King Arthur Flour, and Red Star Yeast for the 2015 National Festival of Bread, Saturday, June 13th at the Hilton Garden in Manhattan. You won't want to miss it.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. Now, folks, let's wrap up with Larry and Millie Dearden.
One of the hallmarks of your operation, Larry, has been stewardship as a guiding theme in what you do.
We used to be a strictly conventional tillage and a follow wheat rotation, and we've adopted for the wheat milo follow rotation and no-till the milo into the wheat stubble. And if we have moisture after milo, we can do milo again or go summer fallow and go back to corn. It gives you some options there. We've adopted from the fields doing a third, and a third, so that you've got a third of the field to wheat, a third of the field to milo, and a third of the field to summer fallow. That helps break up the workload of the summer fallow in the summer and then the spring crop and the wheat harvest. We've switched to where we use liquid fertilizer, and we put it all on with the planter at planting time. It takes us a little longer to plant, but with that fertilizer below and beside the seed, it feeds the plant and not all the weeds in between.
From the longer range perspective, you're wanting to preserve this place for obviously your son who's in partnership, but maybe further generations.
Oh yeah. Going, more and more to be able to do no-till for like the milo stubble, we will try to work it 2 to 3 times before we plant wheat. That just gives us a better seed bed.
Millie, ask you to speak a moment to what you and Larry both have been involved with over the years, and that is, to put it in this phrase, telling the story of agriculture.
Yes, we work really closely with Kansas Farm Bureau to do the Voice of Agriculture, and we go to like the 3i show or the state fair and work at the booths and promote agriculture and try to get people to know the true facts of agriculture and try to address some of the misconceptions. What we really like doing is going into the schools and working with the children.
And each of your activities civilly and in community service, the list is very long. Extension work, 4-H, Gideon's. Larry, you've been involved at that as well?
Yes. Our chapter here is not very big as far as numbers, but we try to make sure that we get to all the schools and all the hospitals and nursing homes and everything to get the Bibles placed where they need to be.
And you're both involved in something called the Friends of Lake Scott State Park, which is not far from here.
Yes, basically what we've done is we've rented the beach house from the state wildlife and parks. We only charge 10% over what our cost is, and then all the money that we make goes back into the park.
And let's speak about your son, Clint, whom is farming with you now. And in fact, he's raising his family just a few hundred yards up the road from your house, your home. And talk about his involvement and how significant that is to the both of you.
We insisted that he go and get his degree in something, and he chose, started out in wildlife biology and then finished up in just a biology degree. And then through that process of getting his education, he grew and learned that he probably wanted to come back and farm. And his wife is actually from Holcomb, so it's not that far away for the other grandparents.
And he's involved with the community. He's on the Soil Conservation Board, and he's the president of our executive board for Extension Council right now. And Jessica's a 3rd grade teacher at the elementary school. They just went off the Young Farmers and Ranchers Board for the state Kansas Farm Bureau.
And they've provided you 2 grandchildren whom you're extraordinarily proud of.
Twins, Addison and Chase. They'll be 2 years old the 24th of February.
Last thing here, what this recognition as Master Farmer, Master Farm Homemaker means to each of you.
It's a pretty great recognition, especially when you didn't grow up on a farm and you came into it, to be recognized and to have that honor. Humbling, I guess, so you would say, that they picked you to do it.
Well, it's quite an honor. I mean, it's for me, it's a culmination of a lot of hard work.
And well-deserving.
Stay tuned for after the break when we meet Bill and Chris Pannbacker.
From the Land of Kansas is a trademark program that helps Kansas businesses grow, produce, process, or manufacture Kansas products. Let's meet the Barns at Timber Creek, located at 14704 91st Road in Winfield, Kansas. The first barn you drive up to is the main B&B, with 5 elegant country-themed guest rooms. These elegant country-themed rooms, the birdhouse, the granary, the southwestern, the rail yard, and the barn owl are all complete with private baths, satellite TV, wireless internet, and air conditioning. Adjacent to the B&B is the barn owl treehouse guest room, a private room with a bath and a tree. Within eyesight is the stone barn, a perfect place for wedding receptions, company meetings, or special celebrations. The stone barn is tucked away in the old stone quarry and is also a great site for concert venues. For more information and to make a reservation, go to timbercreekbarns.com.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
I'm Dr. Frank Lyons, a physician here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. As one of the only standalone stem cell centers in the U.S., we use your stem cells as therapy for arthritis and some autoimmune diseases.
I'm Dr. Andrew Pope. Here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center, utilizing the latest technology under strict protocols, we're able to harvest your stem cells from your own fat to treat a variety of medical conditions. The best part about it is, it's a same-day surgical procedure and requires no general anesthesia.
Join Kansas Sweet, King Arthur Flour, and Red Star Yeast for the 2015 National Festival of Bread, Saturday, June 13th at the Hilton Garden in Manhattan. You won't want to miss it.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities, big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. Now let's meet Bill and Chris Pannbacker.
Originally, Bill Pannbacker set his sights on a career in animal health and, in fact, headed down that path following his graduation from Kansas State University's College of Veterinary Medicine in 1972. He was a practicing veterinarian in far northwest Kansas for several years, but the family farming and ranching operation near Washington, north central Kansas, lured him home. He met Chris upon his return to Washington. Chris was the local newspaper editor at the time. They eventually married and settled into their agricultural life on what is now a 2,000-acre crops and cattle operation, including a medium-sized commercial feedlot that serves as one of the anchors of their enterprise. Their son Jake has now joined his parents in the operation. Daughter Molly is a school teacher. Bill talks about letting go of his veterinary practice to continue the Pannbacker farming legacy in Washington County that stretches back over 140 years.
Along in 1980, my dad was ready to retire, and I said, well, I'm needing to change. Why don't I try this, and I'll try it for a couple years. If it doesn't work out, I can find something else to do. But that was 34 years ago, so I guess it kind of stuck with me.
So you came back to the family farm in 1980. A bit of the history on this operation.
My dad's great uncle, be my grandfather's uncle, bought a farm in this area just across the creek. We farm it now in 1878, and so we've been here since then in some fashion or other.
We'll come back to the farm in just a minute, but let's bring Chris in and talk about her background. You actually grew up in Northeast Kansas and attended Washburn University, is that correct?
Right. I was born in Clay Center, and my father worked for the Union Pacific Railroad. He was a depot agent, and we moved to St. Mary's when I was in 1957, and my parents still live there. I'm the oldest of 7. I went to Washburn. Was on the debate squad for a year. I was the newspaper editor. I received my master's from Kansas State. While I was there, I was an editing graduate teaching assistant. I also worked on the Collegian, and I went to work for the Marysville Advocate in 1980. And then in 1981, I came to Washington as editor of the paper.
And is that how you met then, as you came to Washington?
Yes.
Stay tuned after the break as we wrap up with the Pannbackers.
From the Land of Kansas is a trademark program that helps Kansas businesses grow, produce, process, or manufacture Kansas products. Let's meet Britt's Garden Acres, a family-owned farm on the outskirts of Manhattan. They grow and sell different types of produce, from strawberries to cabbage and so much more. Their flower selection is just as large, with pansies, petunias, marigolds, well, too many to list here. Supporting local markets and providing healthy and tasty foods is their goal. So in addition to flowers and vegetables, Britt's also offers local grass-fed beef, organic pork, raw honey, and Mexican vanilla, along with fantastic jams and salsas. For a fun family event, grab the kids and come to Britt's for a tour of the farm or a barn party. Plus in the fall, they have a huge pumpkin patch with hayrack rides, corn mazes, and a petting zoo too. For more information, go to britsfarm.com.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
Here's another gardening tip with Annette Jackson from Jackson's Greenhouse.
Fresh herbs are healthy and add zest to almost every recipe. The folks at Jackson's grow more than 50 varieties of herbs right here, and many are available year-round. Our staff has hands-on experience and can't wait to assist you with your herb needs. Stop in and see us at Jackson's. We're open 7 days a week.
The biggest, largest selection of homegrown herbs is at Jackson's Greenhouse, with 4-inch pots starting at just $3.79.
Jackson's Greenhouse has what you need today.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Join Kansas Wheat, King Arthur Flour, and Red Star Yeast for the 2015 National Festival of Bread, Saturday, June 13th at the Hilton Garden in Manhattan. You won't want to miss it.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Welcome back to That's My Farm as we wrap up the session with Bill and Chris Pannbacker.
Bill, let's talk about the operation present day then, cattle and crops.
Yes.
Just go over the scope of the place, if you would, please.
When I came back, because my practice was basically a cow-calf practice, I bought a few cows, and so we started a small cow herd. As the operation grew, we were kind of switching a little bit from raising quite a little bit of milo to raising more corn. There was an opportunity to purchase a feedlot, a small feedlot permitted for 950 head. We ended up purchasing that feed yard that facility in 1996. We'll feed most of our feed grains through the cattle at the feedlot. And the other thing that I think is probably our niche is that because we buy our calves in the fall, and some we graze, some we'll feed as calf feds. We don't have the shrink of going to a sale barn. We don't have the expense of merchandising the cattle, and we don't have the 3 or 4 day adjustment on feed. And so if you pick up 3 or 4 days of efficiencies at $2.50 or $3 a day, that's what, $10 or $15 a head that I can economize on that some other folks can't. Now, one of the things that I do watch to monitor our performance is a focus on feedlots. It's a compilation of sales and cost of gains of probably between 200,000 and 300,000 head of cattle a month, and I measure that. That's my standard that I measure against to know that I'm my cost of gains are in line with what industry standards are, and as a rule, we're pretty competitive with the big outfits.
Chris, talk a bit about something that you're now involved with more or less full time, the PEO organization, what that's about and your role in it.
Well, PEO is a philanthropic educational organization, and there are about 250,000 members in the United States and Canada, and I've been employed by Kansas State Chapter as the executive secretary since 2001. I enjoy working with the membership. I do quite a bit of convention planning, and the great thing is that we're helping women get an education, everything from graduating seniors to PhD candidates, women who've had their education interrupted and are going back.
Well, let's talk in our remaining time about your 2 children, and well, Chris, we'll let you do the honors initially anyway. Jake is now back and
Yes.
is in partnership with the 2 of you, is that correct?
He's joined the operation. Jake went to K-State. He has a degree in elementary ed. We told him to get a degree, and if he wanted to come home to the farm, we'd talk about it, because we didn't want him to feel obligated. Very involved in the community. He's involved with 4-H'ers. Molly and Jake are 13 months to the day apart. Molly teaches 5th grade in Wamego. She was married in June of 2013, and Ty is a Riley County police officer.
Last thing here for the both of you, each of you, what this recognition as Master Farmer, Master Farm Homemaker signifies to you. I'll start with you, Bill.
I guess for me, it's more a reflection on honoring my mentors, the people who along the way have helped me. A good balance between family life and business life and community service. And my parents would be my, of course, they're our mentors.
I was amazed. It was an honor to be asked to apply.
Well, congratulations to both of you for the recognition. Again, well deserved, and thank you.
Well, I hope you have enjoyed today's That's My Farm. And don't forget, we'll be back next week with another issue of That's My Farm.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.